Hey, welcome to another one of these videos I have here on YouTube. It's been a while since I posted anything. The last video I posted was what I was going to be doing to my comic book room. It was 4 or 5 weeks ago that I posted it. I want you to do a little scroll around this room and see what has been done. And I'm going to talk about all the changes that we have accomplished in here. I had a great helper. My son Spencer was an absolute rock star, helping me do, all this construction work, if you will, this carpentry. And the kid was just learning on the fly, and he really impressed me, and I want to thank Spencer tremendously. There's a lot of people I'm going to thank, but the first thing I want to show you is electrical. And that's a lot of the behind the scenes stuff. But we have 6 lights in here, and before we had 1, and it looks like I have 1 ladybug flying, so if you guys see that, please don't mind it. Anyhow, they don't eat paper, so I'm good with that. I'll get it later. Anyhow, these lights, LED, they don't emit UV rays, so I can have these lights on full blast and not have to worry about any damage to the books. That was a pain to get those in there, because if you look at the ceiling in here, it's a 9-foot ceiling, and there's not a whole lot of space above the ceiling to the peak of the roof on this wing of the house. I had to crawl in this 18-inch, but roughly 18-inch crawl space up in there in order to get these lights wired in and put them in. But also, we put 5 outlets in this room. Now, I ran an entire line up to this room. It's all on its own breaker. It's on a 30-amp breaker, which it truly doesn't need that. But I figured with this heat press that we're going to use to press comics, I wanted to make sure that I had enough of a breaker that it wouldn't trip. But whenever I was trying to take out the old light, and the 1 outlet that was in this room, I realized somehow it's all on 1 line, and my entire upstairs was running through this room. Did not realize this. It took me a while to figure out where the wires were running and why I was having trouble, but that was a 2-day process in itself, was just figuring out the wires, okay? But we got it all taken care of, and then we put new walls on here. If you remember, it had old brown drywall, 1/4-inch drywall from the 50s. What I wanted walls that I could mount comics on and not have to worry about whether or not the wall was going to be sturdy enough. So what I did was I went to the hardware store. I actually bought the rejected plywood panels. They were a lot cheaper than the regular plywood. And what we did is we ripped them down into boards. These are 5 and 7/8-inch boards, and then I beveled the ends at a 45-degree angle just to give it a little bit of shape. I put a trim piece in here just to cover up where the seams are. Hopefully it looks pretty good. I think it does. The walls here, now Spencer helped me with the whole room. Please don't get me wrong, but Spencer did these walls himself. Come get a close-up image of these walls, the end walls. What it is they're not brick. It's actually, we bought furring strips and just cut them into 7.5-inch chunks, or 2 or 3 inches. I think 3 inches. Anyhow, 3-inch wide, 7.5 inches long. Just put furring strips up on the wall and then painted the heck out of them. On here you can see we put a little bit of spray texture here just to give it a little added look to it. You can see the floor, and just put laminate floor down. Now these thresholds, I had some scrap lumber lying around, so I built the thresholds, stained them, and put some shellac on them. This I'm kind of really excited about, really stoked. I know nothing about pressing comics. I just know that there are some videos online. Reggie Collects has a series on grading and cleaning, and there's some others out there. And I definitely need to do a lot of learning, but I want to add that to my collecting hobby. I've never graded, or I have graded. I've never pressed books. I've never cleaned books. In fact, I always thought that was a no-no with the restoration, but it's becoming an accepted, I mean, CGC does it themselves, so it's an accepted part of the hobby. Now, some other things I've done to this room, you can see the doors. What I did was I cut up old comics and then I clear coated them onto the doors. And I have 3 doors in this room. And this is a storage space behind the door you're looking at over here. This other one, there's a storage space. There's a whole other room back in there. This house has a couple wings on it and they're A-frame. And where this is, it's where 2 valleys end up meeting. And so the door's, it's kind of small. This is the main door of the room. But that was a fun little project, just something to add to it. I don't know, I'm sure it's been done before, but I thought it was kind of cool. Now, this, I'm not gonna lie to you. Building these was a pain. This was more arduous than anything else in the room because I felt like I was working on it and it just, I ground to a standstill as I was building these. Drawers, I ended up splurging on the full slides, extension slides that come out all the way. And these drawers hold almost as much as a long box. I think a long box is 28 inches long. These are 23 inches on the inside. So it does hold almost as much as a long box. But what I like about it is if you look, these are all alphabetical order. Every one of my books. So what I do is if I get a new shipment of books in, I take my time. Actually, this is my working box right here. That box there, those are all the books that I have not entered into an online database. There's a few of them out there. Comics Price Guide has a great way of cataloging all your comics and keeping them in there. And what I do is, after I'm done entering them, I can just go to a box and look things up. I think I saw Reggie today, which I look on a lot of people's Instagrams, but he posted 2 covers of Amazing Spider-Man, I believe it's 21, the wedding issue. But what's nice about it is I can just look right in here, and it's all alphabetical order, and I can see right here I have an annual. So I'm going to be able to go into here. Let's see, what annual is this? 24? 23? I have multiple copies. Oh! Here, I can find different comics. Literally just looking at the front and then just going right to them. I also do have them all listed on paper. Every few months I print it off, and that way I can just go through and find them. But up top here I have my statues. I have some awesome mounts up here from a collector mount where I can put up different comics. These are great to display. You can also use those to put them on the seal or on the wall. Uh-oh. I just knocked down Spencer's Joker. He's gonna be mad at me. You gonna be mad at me, cameraman? Anyhow, I can display the statues up here, but hopefully, I don't know. Hopefully you guys like this room as much as I do. I ended up putting a television up here just so I could watch whatever right now Reggie's on. I always have more work to do. These are magazine size comics. They don't fit in the drawers that I built. So, what I'm going to have to do eventually, I had to build a whole other cabinet just to fit those. I have some trades here. Spencer has some trading cards from the Gulf War. My grandfather built me this whenever I was a young kid. I have another one over there that he built me I have in here. This, Tina, this is the highlight of the room. Thank you so much. Yeah, Spencer loves that statue still. And I know I've mentioned it before, but it's just that cool. The window here, I put up new blinds, and I don't know if you can tell, but I have film on the windows to block UV light. So this room, I have no worries about UV light attacking these comics. And then we have the collector's resource mount right here. So one of the big things that I did this room remodel, or I wanted to, I realized in the last year or so, cool collection, great. Everything was banned to a long box. Everything was in a white cardboard box. And honestly, I never got to see them. Now we can display things. Collector's resources, collector mount, ready, set, go, comic price guide. They all sponsored Reggie Collect's home or comic room makeover. And they sent some absolutely wonderful products. And this room was not up to par to the awesome products that they sent. So we had to do some updating. I want to thank some people. I'm going to close this video up. If any of you guys want to see anything else, just let me know in the comments. But I want to close this up with thanking some people. The 4 sponsors that I mentioned, I want to thank. I want to thank Reggie. I want to thank Joey Solo for donating. There was also another unnamed sponsor that, as I said, did not wish to be named. I want to thank Mrs. Simmons because in a household, I know that whenever I spend anything, you know, that's the wife, she works also. So thank you, Mrs. Simmons. I also want to put a big thank you out to my beautiful wife for helping, supporting, and everyone else for your comments that was following me on Instagram. I really, truly did appreciate them. It kind of made my day enjoyable whenever I would pop up on Instagram. I'd take a break from work and I'd pop up Instagram. But I want to thank everybody for all your support. Thank you.